I am overwhelmed, bloody brilliant, absolutely spoiling me, rude, swimming in a sea of books, the banter. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I have a huge book haul. This is my biggest book haul yet for sure. Obviously, as you know, I've been doing monthly book hauls recently just to keep track of all the books that I buy and receive every month, whether they be small or large. This one is a massive one. Big part of that is because it was my birthday this month. It was just a couple of days ago when I'm filming this, so like the week before when this goes live, and people absolutely spoiled me. I am overwhelmed with the amount of books I received from such beautiful humans all over YouTube and Twitter. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who sent me birthday wishes, who sent me gifts, anything. It absolutely means the world to me. I was in tears on my birthday just knowing how many people thought about me and how many people wanted to send me a gift or send me a birthday message. It absolutely means so much to me, so a massive thank you. I am going to go through all the books that I received as well as all the books that I've bought myself throughout the month, and we have over 25 books which is insane to me. I honestly cannot believe how blessed I am. But yeah, I'm going to start with all the books that I received for my birthday, then go on to some books that I received for other reasons, whether they be ARCs or giveaways, and then go on to the books that I bought myself throughout the month. I just want to get the birthday ones out of the way first because I feel like that'll be the ones that most people are watching for so they can see their book mentioned. So yeah, I'm going to get into it right away because we have a lot of books to talk about and we all know I can ramble. But before I do that, if you could please hit this video with a like, that would be hugely appreciated because it really supports my channel. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more bookish content from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, and I also host weekly live reading sprints every Thursday evening. Okay, so starting off with the first book I received. I actually received this one so early because Pris, you were all over it, thank you so much, but Pris sent me A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This one has been on my radar for a while. It is a middle grade as far as I'm aware, and I'm just going to read the blurb for this one because it's nice and short. It says that 3 sisters trapped by an ancient curse, 3 magical objects with the power to change their fate. Will they be enough to break the curse, or will they lead the sisters even deeper into danger? This one just sounds absolutely beautiful. It's supposed to be captivating, really nicely written, and it is the first in a series, so I can't wait to get around to this one and the rest of the series very soon, so thank you so much, Pris. Next I have The Switch by Beth O'Leary, which the lovely Rebecca from Rebecca Books sent me. I have already read this one. I read it on my Kindle and I absolutely adored it, and as you all know if you've watched videos from me before, if I like something that I've read on my Kindle, I then want to own it physically. I don't like it just being on my Kindle. I want to have the finished copy, so this went straight on my wish list. I am so happy to finally have it now, so thank you so much, Rebecca. Beth O'Leary is a wonderful contemporary writer. I really like her books. She has had The Switch and The Flat Share, both of which I loved, and she also has The Road Trip coming out sometime later this year. I think it's not too far off actually. But The Switch basically follows 2 women. We have Lena, a young woman living in London working her socks off at a top firm, and her grandmother Eileen, who is newly single and about to turn 80 and living in her little Yorkshire village, bored stupid with her life. And the 2 decide to do a life swap. So Eileen moves into Lena's flat in London with her edgy, trendy young flatmates, and Lena moves into the little cottage in Yorkshire and takes on her responsibilities as part of the neighbourhood, and it's basically about their lives and what they learn from each other in doing that, and it is so much fun. It is so beautiful. There's so much to learn about both of these characters, and I just adored this book. I really did, so I can't wait to reread it very soon. The next book I got was Skullduggery Pleasant, the first in the series, and I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anyone who knows her. This one came from Spoops. She absolutely loves this series. She's the only person I've actually heard talk about this series, but she talks about it a lot because she does love it. I'm sure there are something over 15 books by this point, so it's quite an undertaking even starting them, but I really want to. I mean, just look at that cover. Does that not just scream a fun time? This one follows a woman called Stephanie, whose Uncle Gordon is a writer of horror fiction. But when he dies and leaves her his estate, Stephanie learns that while he may have written horror, it certainly wasn't fiction. Pursued by evil forces, Stephanie finds help from an unusual source, the wisecracking skeleton of a dead sorcerer. This just sounds like so much fun. It sounds right up my street, and I really hope that I'm going to get really invested in the story and want to continue the series afterwards, because I'm sure Spoops will kill me if I do not. The next book I have is The Third Wife by Lisa Jewell. This one came from Rhiannon from Welsh Reader, so thank you so much to Rhiannon. If you're watching my channel recently, you will know that I have discovered that thrillers are probably my favourite genre. I am starting to come to terms with that fact and realise that there will be a lot more thriller reading on my channel, and that's okay. I don't have to read all of the amazing BookTube favourite books all the time. I can read thrillers if I want to, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you have watched my channel recently, you'll know that I read Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell and I loved it. So I've wanted to read all of the rest of her books ASAP. This one says, London, 3 AM, a tragic accident, then your life begins to fall apart. You think you have the perfect life, you're successful, attractive, well liked, and you've just got married for the 3rd time. But that's okay because everyone's happy, including your new wife. But she has a secret, and secrets have consequences, some of which can be devastating. Which basically tells you nothing, which is what I love about that blurb, because I have no idea what's going to happen in this book, and that's the best thing about a thriller, when you're completely in the dark the whole way through and then stuff goes down. So I'm so excited to read this one as soon as possible. On the note of Lisa Jewell, I also have another book of hers in this haul, so I'm going to get that one right now, and that is I Found You. This one was sent to me by the lovely Leah from Leah Crumpton. She is one of my favourite people on BookTube, and she is also a massive thriller lover as well. We have both recently come to terms with the fact that that is probably our favourite genre, and we are embracing it. So of course she sent me a thriller again by Lisa Jewell. This one says, Lily has only been married for 3 weeks. When her new husband fails to come home from work one night, she is left stranded in a new country where she knows no one. Alice finds a man on the beach outside her house. He has no name, no jacket, no idea what he is doing there. Against her better judgment, she invites him into her home. But who is he, and how can she trust a man who has lost his memory? It just sounds so exciting, so gripping. I feel like it's been one of those ones that when I start reading it, I'm not going to be able to put it down, because that's exactly how I felt about Invisible Girl. So I am buzzing to get round to this one soon. The next book I have in this haul that I received for my birthday is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This one came from Chloe Reads Books, so thank you so much to Chloe. I actually read this one for Bookopothon last weekend, so if you want to see my full thoughts for this one, feel free to check out that vlog. But this one basically follows the character of Rachel and her boyfriend Nick. At the beginning, they are completely in love and think they know everything about each other. She then is invited to Singapore to visit his family for the summer and finds out that he is absolutely loaded and has a very disapproving mother who thinks he should be with someone of his grade. I don't know. So when she goes over to Singapore, she learns all about the life of crazy rich Asians and has to decide if she is willing to integrate into that world, or if she's even going to be allowed to. And it's just such a good book. It's such a culture shock learning about the way of life of these people with all of this money, and it's also really interesting to see how Rachel is accepted or not accepted into that lifestyle and what she thinks of it. Love this one. Already read it. Yay! The next book I have is One Day by David Nichols. This one was sent to me by the lovely Shar from Shar Fiction. Thank you so much, Shar. She sent me this one because I recently read Our Stop by Laura Jane Williams and loved it, and when I was talking about it, it sounded a little bit like One Day to Shar, which is one of her favourite books, so we plan to swap the two. I'll read this one, she will read Our Stop, and we will discuss our thoughts. But this one basically follows Emma and Dexter, who meet on the night of their graduation. Tomorrow they must go their separate ways. So where will they be on this one day next year, and the year after that, and every year that follows? You can live your whole life not realising that what you're looking for is right in front of you. So yeah, basically I'm assuming this one follows the same day each year and seeing where they are each year, but obviously they're supposed to be together, and I'm assuming they're not going to be. And I don't know if they get together in the end or not, but I'm really excited to read this one. I have not watched the film, but I'll probably watch it after I have read the book. The next book I have is I Heart New York by Lindsay Kelp, and this was sent to me by the lovely Steph from Steph Loves, so thank you, Steph. I've been dying to read this one ever since I heard Rachel from Rachel Kerris talking about it. It sounds like such a fun contemporary that I will adore, and I believe it follows the character of Angela, who has just found out her boyfriend is cheating on her and just feels like it's basically the end of the world. She is not happy, so she jumps on a plane and goes to NYC, where she lives a new life, has a makeover, over, meets new men, dates new men, and it's all about her sort of Carrie Bradshaw-esque life in New York and her sort of finding herself again after going through everything in her relationship and her past life. So yes, I'm really excited to get around to this one soon. Next, I have 3 books from one person, someone who absolutely spoiled me, and that was Ro from Wandering Worlds, so thank you so much, Ro. I have, first of all, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This one is a fantasy, which comes as no surprise to me. Of course Ro would send me fantasy because that is her favourite genre as far as I'm aware. And this one says, the Earth is dying, Darrow is a Red, a miner in the interior of Mars. His mission is to extract enough precious elements to one day tame the surface of the planet and allow humans to live on it. The Reds are humanity's last hope, or so it appears until the day Darrow discovers it's all a lie, that Mars has been habitable and inhabited for generations by a class of people calling themselves the Golds, a class of people who look down at Darrow and his fellows as slave labour, to be exploited and worked to death without a second thought, until the day Darrow, with the help of a mysterious group of rebels, disguises himself as a Gold and infiltrates their command school, intent on taking down his oppressors from the inside. But the command school is a battlefield and Darrow isn't the only student with an agenda. This just sounds so exciting, so fast paced, and such an amazing idea as well. I love that whole, it's like a completely new take on like space sci-fi type vibes, and I am here for it. I'm excited. The next one Rose sent me was another fantasy, of course, and that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. At the convent of Sweet Mercy, girls are raised to be killers. Some have inherited old bloods which bestow upon them special talents. Sweet Mercy hones its novices' skills with care. It takes 10 years to educate a Red Sister in the deadly arts of blade and fist. But even the mistresses of sword and shadow don't fully understand what they have purchased when Nona Grey is brought to their halls as a child of 8, accused of murder but guilty of worse. In her short life, Nona has made powerful enemies, and death, despite the security and isolation of the convent, her violent past will one day find her out. Nona must face her demons and become a deadly assassin if she is to survive. This sounds bloody brilliant. I did not actually know what it was about until I read that blurb right there, and now I am buzzing because we love a strong female character and I'm loving the idea of this little girl who is like badass. I'm so excited for this one, so yay. Thank you, Ro. And the final book that she sent me was The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, which I have been dying to read for so long. His next book that I forget the name of came out really recently and I've been dying to read that one, but I also kind of want to read this one first. And this one says, at a party thrown by her parents, Evelyn Hardcastle will be killed again. She's been murdered hundreds of times and each day Aidan Bishop is too late to save her. The only way to break the cycle is to identify Evelyn's killer. But every time the day begins again, Aidan wakes in the body of a different guest and someone is desperate to stop him, ever escaping Blackheath. Like, this just sounds so good. I want to read this ASAP. It's just like murder mystery but with a whole new spin on it, and I love a murder mystery. And I also kind of love the whole trope of like waking up each day and having to like relive it and try and like get the answer before the end of the day. I don't know how else to explain that. It was a really bad explanation, but I think you know what I mean. So yes, I am so excited to get around to this one soon. The next 2 books I received were from the lovely Maddie from Book Browsing Blog, and she sent me, first of all, The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. If you've been watching my channel recently, you'll know that my favourite book of the year so far was by Alex E. Harrow, and that was The Once and Future Witches. I absolutely adored that book. Loved it with all of my heart. I don't know if anything will top it this year, so I've been dying to read her first novel and I am so happy to have it now. This one says, as the ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, January Scholar feels little different from the artefacts that decorate his sprawling mansion. Carefully maintained, largely ignored and utterly out of place. But when she finds a strange book, one that tells a tale of secret doors, of love, adventure and danger, for the first time January realises she can escape her story and sneak into someone else's. This just sounds beautiful. It sounds like such an interesting, poignant story of like storytelling, if that makes sense. And I really loved Alex E. Harrow's writing style in The Once and Future Witches, so I'm hoping to love it in this one too. Yeah, I'm excited. And the second book that Maddie bought me was one that I've been dying to read ever since she started talking about it on YouTube. It's actually herself that explained the premise of it to me, and as soon as she did, oh my god, I've been dying to read it, and that is Docile by K.M. Sparrow. And this one, if I can remember from what Maddie told me, was basically it's like a dystopian, and if you get into debt you can apply to become a docile, which basically means to pay off your debt you will go to work for someone, either through like manual labour or like selling your body, or basically whatever they want from you. They can sort of offer up a job and a length of time in order to pay off the debt that you are due. If there are multiple people that offer up a job, you can then choose which one you want to do. So then there's this whole idea of consent, because if you are choosing someone who you're maybe like sort of selling your body to in order to pay off this debt, is that consent? You're choosing them, but only because you have to in order to pay off that debt. And yeah, basically it just sounds incredible, and I cannot wait to read this one and see all the ins and outs. I've heard amazing things about K.M. Sparrow, again mostly from Maddie, but basically I love all books she loves, so I'm hoping to love this one too. The next 4 books I got were all from one person, from the lovely Rachel, one of my absolute favourite people on this platform. She spoiled me, and she actually sent me them early because she wanted me to have them before I went into my surgery, which was so thoughtful of her, and yeah, I just love her. Love you, Rachel, if you're watching this. So basically, first of all, she sent me Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This one I had asked her to send me because she accidentally got 2 copies, so she was looking to send the other one to someone, and when she talked about the premise of it, I just knew I wanted to read it, so yes. So this one says, recently out of a devastating love affair and mourning the death of her beloved mum, Casey is lost. The novel she's been writing for 6 years isn't going anywhere. Her debt is soaring, and at 31, with all her friends getting married and having kids, she feels too old for things to be this way. Then she meets Silas. He is kind, handsome, interested, but only a few weeks later, Oscar, older, fascinating, troubled, walks into her life, his 2 boys in tow. Suddenly Casey finds herself at the point of a love triangle, torn between 2 very different relationships that promise 2 very different futures, and she's still got to write that book. This sounds wonderful. It sounds like such a nice, beautiful contemporary, and I love the idea of having these 2 very different lives that she could basically choose for herself, very different relationships. I'm interested to see how that is handled, and also just the idea of someone writing a book obviously interests most of us on this platform, because most of us would love to also write as much as we love to read. So yeah, very excited for that one. The next one she sent me was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Rachel has been raving about this for so long, and she's been getting me so hyped to read it, so I'm so unbelievably grateful to her for sending this to me. But this one is kind of like a YA thriller, I think. And it says, 5 years ago, schoolgirl Andy Bell was murdered by Sal Singh. The police know who he did it, everyone in town knows he did it. But having grown up in the same small town that was consumed by the murder, Pippa Fitzamobi isn't so sure. When she chooses the case as a topic for her final year project, she starts to uncover secrets that someone in town desperately wants to stay hidden. And if the real killer is still out there, how far will they go to keep Pip from the truth? I feel like this is going to be one of those ones that I devour. It just sounds so exciting, so interesting, and like I said, I love anything mystery thriller-esque, so I'm buzzing to read this one. Next we have Loveless by Alice Oseman. This is the only prose book of Alice Oseman's that Rachel liked, as far as I'm aware. I don't think she was a fan of the others, but she loved this one, and I've been dying to read some Alice Oseman prose for so long, because all I've read from her are the Heartstopper graphic novels, which I obviously adore, but I wanted to read some of her prose as well, so I am so excited to get around to this one. This one follows Georgia, who has never been in love, never kissed anyone, never even had a crush, but as a fanfic obsessed romantic, she's sure she'll find her person one day. As she starts university, Georgia makes a plan to find love. When her actions wreak havoc among her friends, she questions why romance seems so easy for other people, yet not for her. With new terms thrown at her, asexual, aromantic, Georgia is more uncertain about her feelings than ever. Is she destined to remain loveless, or has she been looking for the wrong thing all along? I can't wait to read this one. I have not read anything, as far as I'm aware, with any asexual or aromantic representation, so I'm really excited to see how that is done in this. In terms of Heartstopper novels, I thought Alice Oseman handled the topic of sexuality and coming out and finding your own identity really, really well, so I really hope she does that in this one as well. As far as I'm aware from reviews from people who are asexual and aromantic, they have loved it and they felt really well represented in this, so I am really looking forward to reading it and hopefully learning something as well. And the final book that the lovely Rachel sent me was Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow by Benjamin Dean, which is a middle grade, I believe, that everyone is raving about at the moment, and it just sounds so cute and wholesome and lovely. And this one says, my name's Archie and I know 2 things for certain. 1, my mum and dad kind of hate each other. 2, they're keeping a big secret from me. All Archie wants is for them to be a happy family again, but then he overhears Dad's secret and his dream is blown apart. When a colourful flyer falls out of Dad's pocket, Archie thinks he may have found the answer. Only problem, that answer might just lie at the end of the rainbow. This sounds beautiful. It sounds so cute, and it sounds again like such an accessible way of learning about sexuality, identity, and coming to terms with that. And the idea of a young child learning that about their parent, I think, is a really interesting thing to explore. I actually have friends who have gone for this, so I will find it really interesting to see how this is done in it. And yeah, I'm so excited to read this, so thank you so much, Rachel, for absolutely spoiling me. Okay, we're getting to the end of the presents. Cannot believe how lucky I've been. Next we have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, which was sent to me by the lovely Emily from Emily Kathleen Reads. Thank you so much, Emily. This will be my first Patrick Ness book, and I know he is so many people's like top 10 authors, so I am unbelievably excited to read this one. And it looks nice and short, so I feel like this will be like a one-day job sort of thing, and we know I love those because they make me feel like I am really accomplished and I am achieving things in life. This one says, Connor has the same dream every night, ever since his mother first fell ill, ever since she started the treatments that don't quite seem to be working. But tonight is different. Tonight when he wakes, there's a visitor at his window. It's ancient, elemental, a force of nature, and it wants the most dangerous thing of all from Connor. It wants the truth. This one I think is supposed to be really beautifully written. That's what I've heard about Patrick Ness, is his writing is absolutely beautiful, so I cannot wait to experience it for the first time and hopefully love this book. Next I have The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, and this was sent to me by the lovely Sid from Sid Bookworm. Thank you so much, because I have been dying to read this book for so long. Like, just the cover absolutely calls to me, and anything to do with witches, you know, I'm obsessed. And this one says, born on the fringes of Bethel, Emmanuel does her best to obey the church and follow holy protocol. For it was in Bethel that the first prophet pursued and killed 4 powerful witches and so cleansed the land. Then a chance encounter lures her into the dark wood that surrounds Bethel. It is a forbidden place, haunted by the spirits of the witches who bestow an extraordinary gift on Emmanuel, the diary of her dead mother. Fascinated by and fearful of the secrets the diary reveals, Emmanuel begins to understand why her mother once consorted with witches, and as the truth about the prophets and their history is revealed, so Emmanuel understands what must be done. The real threat to Bethel is its own darkness. Bethel must change, and that change will begin with her. This just sounds so creepy and sinister and dark and witchy and magical, and I am so excited to read it. This is like my vibes in one book, and yeah, I am highly anticipating this book, and I'm hoping I'll love it, so thank you so much, Sid, for sending me this. That is all the gifts that I received for my birthday. Thank you so much to absolutely everyone who sent me them. I am so grateful. Now I have some other books that I have received and bought myself, just to end off the March book haul. So another gift that I received at the beginning of the month was The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This one was sent to me by a lovely subscriber named Beth, and oh my god, thank you so much, because I have been dying to read this book. As I said, I love thrillers, and this one has been on my radar as one of the best as far as I'm aware. People seem to love it. I have actually started it. I started it for my book-up-a-thon vlog, and I have about this much left, and I am loving it so far. Obviously, The Turn of the Key has major Turn of the Screw vibes, which is one of my favourite books, and I love seeing any adaptations of it. It basically follows Rowan, who gets a job in a remote place in Scotland as a live-in nanny with an outrageous salary, and she goes there and immediately the parents leave and she is left to look after the 2 young girls and a baby as well. But while she's living there, strange things start happening. She starts hearing footsteps above her, doors start opening by themselves, the doorbell rings but there's no one there, things like that, and she starts to uncover more and more about this house and the family that she is helping out. But the best thing about this is that it's written entirely in the form of letters. So it starts off with Rowan writing these letters from prison to a lawyer saying, I need your help, I'm innocent, and the whole book is her trying to prove her innocence, writing these letters to a lawyer, asking him to represent her, telling them the story of what happened. And the crime that she's supposed to be guilty of is murdering a child. So yeah, I mentioned in my last vlog as well, one of my favourite things ever is an unreliable narrator. I just absolutely love it, and so I love reading books like this where you have to take everything that they say with a pinch of salt and trying to uncover what is true and what is not. So yes, great. Really excited to finish this one. Thank you so much to Beth for sending me it. Next I have an ARC that was sent to me. This is the first publishing company that got in touch with me since starting my BookTube channel, which is really exciting, and that was Trapeze Books, which is like a branch from Orion Books, I believe, and they got in touch with me and asked if I would like to read and review Looking for Eliza by Leif Arbuthnot. and this one is just sounds like such a beautiful read. Again, I have started this one, I'm about halfway through and I'm really thoroughly enjoying it so far. But basically it follows two women. It's kind of reminds me of The Switch actually. So we've got Ada, who is a widowed writer who is living alone after her husband recently passed away and trying to come to terms with life on her own and what that means and who she is without her husband. And then we have Eliza, who is a student at university who is working hard to get her PhD, dealing with family drama as well as coming out of an abusive relationship. And basically Ada starts up this company type thing called Rent a Gran, where she offers herself up to be a gran to people, whether that be for like nannying or helping people with their manners, things like that. She wants to like do something with her life now she's on her own and feel like she is making good use of her time. Basically Eliza is going to make use of that and they are going to learn things about themselves through each other. I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking downstairs. Rude. But yeah, this just sounds like such a beautiful tale. So far I am loving the themes of like loneliness, particularly in elderly people, and what that is like. There are so many amazing images in here about that. Like already we've had Ada hold her own hand because she would usually hold her husband's hand and things like that, and it's just absolutely breaking my heart, but it's beautiful so far and I cannot wait to finish this one. Okay, we're nearly done, I promise. I promise. So next we have Next we have a trilogy of books, and that is the Brown sister books. So basically I had pre-ordered Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert because I needed it as soon as it came out. I had already read Get a Life Chloe Brown and Take a Hint Dani Brown on my Kindle, but I loved them both so much that I needed to have physical copies. So as soon as this one came, I had to buy the other one so that I could have all three of them looking so pretty on my shelves. But these books basically follow the Brown sisters. So we have Chloe Brown, Dani Brown and Eve Brown. And each one is a romance, a rom-com contemporary type vibe. They meet their love interest and fun and steam ensues. I don't, would we call this one friends to lovers? Because they don't really hate each other, they're quite different, but they soon become friends to lovers maybe. Dani Brown is fake dating. Eve Brown is enemies to lovers. And Eve Brown, I love this so much because we have Jacob, who is a grumpy man, and then we have Eve, who is a ray of sunshine, and the way these two bounce off each other, there is nothing like it. Their love story was my favourite of the three of them because the banter the bants were incredible, and yeah, I just loved it so much. So yeah, I've already read them all, but I'm so happy to now have them in my collection. And if you've not read them, please do, because they will change your life. Finally, I have two more thrillers to show you that I got thanks to Kayla from All About That page, because she let me know that Asda were doing a 2 for £8 deal and there were lots of thrillers in there, including Lisa Jewell. So I got The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. So I now have 4 Lisa Jewell books, 3 of which I need to read, 3 of which I have got in this haul, and I'm so excited about it. But The Family Upstairs is the one that I hear people rave about the most. Everyone seems to love it. And this one says, in a large house in London's fashionable Chelsea, a baby is awake in her cot. Well fed and cared for, she is happily waiting for someone to pick her up. In the kitchen lie 3 decomposing corpses. Close to them is a hastily scrawled note. They've been dead for several days. Who has been looking after the baby? And where did they go? Like, how good does that sound? How good does that sound? I am so excited to read this one. This is going to be another one that I am sure I will fly through. And yeah, I can't wait. And then I also got The Prank by LV Matthews. This one I know nothing about. I have not seen it anywhere. But the name and then the little tagline, how far is too far, immediately I knew I needed this book. And this one says, how far is too far? Eleanor Green is about to find out. Elle lives a quiet life in London, struggling with the loss of her father, until a chance encounter leads her to discover a link between a hit reality TV show and her father's death. Elle realises she can orchestrate the perfect revenge, but her pursuit soon turns to obsession, and she doesn't seem to know how to stop. Her drive for destruction means risking her life and the lives of those closest to her. This one just sounds so engaging and compelling, and I love the idea of a revenge story. I don't think I've really read any thrillers recently of a revenge story where you're looking at the perspective of the person who's going after the revenge, and I think it's going to be so interesting and quite dark and fast-paced. And yes, another thriller to add to the collection. But that is it for my March birthday book haul. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed it. I am so grateful to everyone who sent me anything, and I am just swimming in a sea of books. Or as Brandon says, our house is now littered with unread books. Littered. But yes, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, then do please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe for more bookish content from me. Comment down below with any of your thoughts and feelings, and I will see you in my next one.